Hello everyone, my name is Oktay, and welcome to this week's presentation, which we are going to be talking about Gagné's conditions of learning. Well, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but I looked it up and they say Gagné, so we're going to go with that. So, what we're going to be talking about today is that we are going to be looking at who's Robert Louis Gagné first. Then we are going to be looking at what made him famous. So we're going to be looking at his 5 conditions of learning. And after that, which is also related to 5 conditions of learning, we are going to be looking at 9 levels of learning. And at the very end, we're going to look at how does Gagné's theory of 5 conditions of learning can help us, how can it benefit us. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's start with Gagné himself. Well, Robert Gagné is an American educational psychologist, and he's known for his conditions of learning that we're going to be talking about today. Uh, he also, went on to develop a series of studies and works that simplified and explained what he and others believe to be coding instruction. So what this basically means that, he thinks that, with the proper and, correct instruction, you can learn everything. So, you can summarize his work by, saying that Gagné's assumption, which is basically like, let's say you want to teach a kid or anyone that you want to teach them how to play the violin, right? So the way that you teach that person how to play violin is going to be different than how you teach them algebra. So that's what Gagne is trying to say, which basically means that, for each and every different objective, you need different and specific uh, sets of, education techniques. So that's what he called them. That's what he called, these specific and different methods of teaching. He called them 5 conditions of learning, and they all fall under the umbrella terms of like cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains that we've talked about, on the last week's presentation. But they mainly fall under cognitivism. So yeah, so let's look at the 5 types of learning. Gagné's 5 conditions of learning and 5 types of learning. They're the same thing. So we have intellectual skills, cognitive strategy, verbal information, attitude and motor skills. Uh, you know, these are the methods that you can use to teach some specific or some just any kind of teaching. So let's get what they include. Intellectual skills include, problem solving, discriminations of, concepts and all that, and concepts itself and principles. And cognitive strategies include metacognition, strategies for problem solving and thinking. Verbal information includes facts of knowledge. Attitude includes actions that a person chooses to complete, and motor skills includes behavioral, physical skills. So basically, it touches upon you know every kind of way of teaching, and it just takes them in the umbrella term of just like 5 terms. So these all include you know from motor skills to very intellectual skills. It goes from motor skills to intellectual skills. So it basically includes every single type of teaching. But Gagne also thinks that in order to use these methods, the students should go under 9 levels of events. So if they don't go these 9 levels of events in proper order, they will not, I mean, they cannot uh, get to these methods, so they cannot achieve learning. So these 9 levels of learning are, gaining the attention. So you need to hook the students. Then you need to orient the learner, which basically means that you need to prepare and, make your objectives clear. And then you stimulate recall of prior knowledge. Basically means that, you make your students remember what they've learned so far. And for the fourth level, you present content material, which basically means you're going to present your students what you're going to teach. And at the fifth level, you have provide learning guidance, which basically means again that you show them how you're going to teach them, and then you at the sixth level you're going to practice it, and at seventh level you're going to give an informative feedback, and at the eighth level you're going to assess if lesson objectives have been learned, which basically means that did you gain what you try to gain, and the ninth and last level is that you have to enhance retention and transfer. So, if a student doesn't go through all these 9 levels, they cannot, be subjected to the 5 methods of learning that we've covered. So, students should go through these in order to achieve learning. And lastly, if we were to look at the benefits of Gagné's theory, when we use it with Bloom's taxonomy, which we also covered last week, Gagné's theory just basically provides us teachers and teacher candidates some sort of scaffolding and a framework to work on from, like planning your lessons and planning your topics. So it's just basically a scaffolding for your teaching. And yeah, that was it for this week. And I hope I can see you next week. So see you later until then.